Delta Lea Goodrem is an Australian singer-songwriter, pianist, and television actress. Born and raised in Sydney, New South Wales, she enrolled in dancing, acting, singing and piano classes at a young age. She began her career as a child actress, starring in various television shows and rose to prominence in 2002 in the Australian soap opera Neighbours as Nina Tucker. Venturing into the music industry, Goodrem recorded an album entitled Delta through an independent label, which, for legal reasons, was never released. Subsequently signing to Sony at the age of 15, she released her multi-platinum album Innocent Eyes, which topped the Australian Albums Chart and reached number 2 on the UK Albums Chart. It became one of the highest-selling albums in Australian history, with over 4 million copies sold worldwide and all 5 of its singles. Born to Try, Lost Without You, Innocent Eyes, Not Me, Not I, and Predictable reaching number 1 in Australia and the first 3 reaching the top 10 in the UK. This gave her the record for becoming the first ever artist to have 5 number 1 singles from a debut album. Each of her subsequent albums followed with similar commercial success on the ARIA Albums Chart. Her second studio album, Mistaken Identity, was created while she was suffering from cancer and became her second consequent number 1 album. In 2007, she released Delta, her third number 1 album, and in 2012 she released her fourth studio album Child of the Universe, which reached number 2. Goodrem has continued to have a string of top 10 hits, including Out of the Blue, Mistaken Identity, Together We Are One, In This Life, Believe Again, Sitting on Top of the World, Wish You Were Here, and Heart Hypnotic. Goodrem has achieved 8 number 1 singles and 3 number 1 albums in her home country. As of the early 2010s, she holds the Australian record for the highest-selling album of the last decade and the most number 1 singles from a debut album. From 2012 to 2013, she was a coach on The Voice Australia, and will appear on The Voice Kids Australia in 2014. Biography, 1984 – 2000, Early Life, Education, and Discovery. Delta Lea Goodrem was born on November 9, 1984, to parents Dennis and Lea Goodrem, who are now divorced. She has a younger brother, Trent, who is an Australian rules football player with the Central District Football Club in the South Australian National Football League. Her parents named her Delta after Joe Cocker's song Delta Lady. At the age of 7, Goodrem appeared in an American advertisement for the Gallup Toy Company, starring alongside fellow Australian Beck Cartwright, and began playing piano at the same age while taking up singing, dancing and acting lessons. She appeared in numerous commercials for companies such as Optus and Nesquik, and had several minor roles in episodes of successful Australian television shows including Hey Dad, A Country Practice, and Police Rescue. While residing at Glen Haven, a suburb of Sydney, Goodrem attended the Hills Grammar School in neighbouring Kenghurst, from kindergarten until year 10. She is known to return to her alma mater for visits. At the age of 13, Goodrem recorded a 5-song demo CD, financed through her television work. It was sent to the Sydney Swans Football Club and they passed it on to Glenn Wheatley, the manager behind successful Australian artists, Little River Band and John Farnham. Interested in Goodrem's potential as a recording artist, Wheatley signed Goodrem an artist development deal with independent label, Empire Records. Between June 1999 to September 2000, she worked with producers Paul Higgins and Trevor Carter on 13 tracks for an album called Delta, which saw an ambitious 15-year-old keen to emulate the pop sound of the Spice Girls, Britney Spears and Mandy Moore. The album has yet to surface, Goodrem preventing its release years later via civil action in 2004. 2001 – 03, career launch, Neighbours, Innocent Eyes, and Cancer Diagnosis. At the age of 15, Goodrem signed a record deal with Sony and began work on an album of pop dance songs including the unsuccessful debut single, I Don't Care, which peaked at number 64 on the ARIA Singles Chart in November 2001. The album and proposed second single A Year Ago Today were pushed aside as a result, allowing Goodrem and Sony to re-evaluate her future musical direction. In 2002, Goodrem took up the role as shy schoolgirl and aspiring singer Nina Tucker in the popular soap Neighbours, which helped relaunch Goodrem's music career. The piano-based ballad Born to Try, co-written by Audius Mtawarira, premiered on the show and reached number 1 on the ARIA singles chart and number 3 in the UK. Born to Try was certified triple platinum in Australia for sales of over 210,000 copies. Goodrem's role on the show scored her a Logie for Most Popular New Talent at the 2003 Logie Awards in January 2003. Lost Without You topped the ARIA singles chart and reached number 4 in the UK. It was certified double platinum for sales over 140,000 copies in Australia. Her largely self-penned debut album, Innocent Eyes, was released on March 21, 2003 in Australia and debuted at number 1 on the ARIA album charts, breaking Australian records previously held by John Farnham's Whispering Jack by staying at number 1 for 25 consecutive weeks, while tying with Neil Diamond's Hot August Night is the second longest charting number 1 album with a total of 29 weeks at top spot. It was the highest-selling album in Australia of 2003 and sold 1.2 million copies in Australia, and over 4 million worldwide. The album also charted highly in the UK, peaking at number 2. The album's third single Innocent Eyes again reached number 1 on the ARIA singles chart and number 9 in the UK. It was certified platinum in Australia for sales over 70,000 copies. On July 8, 2003, at the age of 18, Goodrem was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. She was forced to put all working commitments on hold while undertaking treatment for the disease. In an exclusive interview with the Australian Women's Weekly, Goodrem revealed that, since 2002, she had suffered from a head-to-toe rash, fatigue, weight loss, night sweats, and a lump on her neck. I was doing sit-ups when I felt something pop in my neck. I reached down and I felt a small lump at the base of my throat. It wasn't sore, it wasn't visible, but I could feel it. As part of her treatment, Goodrem undertook chemotherapy, which resulted in the loss of her hair, and radiation therapy. The news of her diagnosis made newspaper and television headlines and an outpouring of support was shown by fans and the general public alike. Goodrem thanked them during the Visualize tour for all the letters and well wishes she received. The album's fourth single Not Me, Not I was released following the announcement Goodrem had been diagnosed with cancer. It became her fourth consecutive number 1 single in Australia, overtaking the previous effort of 3 number 1s from Kylie Minogue's debut album, Kylie. It was certified platinum for sales over 70,000 copies. In early August, she announced she would not renew her contract with Glenn Wheatley. Her mother, Lea Goodrem, replaced him as her manager. Later that month, Goodrem won 7 ARIA awards, including Best Female Artist, surpassing Natalie Imbruglia's previous record of 6 awards in 1999. As Delta was too unwell to perform at the ceremony herself, singer Darren Hayes performed a rendition of Lost Without You as a tribute, bringing an overwhelmed Goodrem to tears. Her first full-length DVD Delta became the highest-selling music DVD by an Australian artist in Australia ever, with a certification of 11x Platinum. The Australian-only release Predictable became her 5th consecutive number 1 on the ARIA singles chart in December and was certified double platinum for sales of over 140,000 copies. 2004 Euro 06, Mistaken Identity, and the Visualize tour. After announcing in late December 2003 that she was in remission, Goodrem began work on her second studio album. Goodrem received 2 nominations at the 2004 Logie Awards, including a Gold Logie nomination for Most Popular Personality on Australian television. In September 2004, she became the face of soft drink company Pepsi in Australia, appearing on the product, billboards, TV advertisements and performing an exclusive show for competition winners. In October Goodrem launched her own lingerie line titled Delta by Annabella. Goodrem's second album Mistaken Identity, was released in Australia on November 8, 2004 and debuted at number 1 on the ARIA albums chart. It was certified 5 times platinum for sales of 350,000 copies. The album spent 46 weeks in the top 50. It also reached number 7 in New Zealand, and peaked at number 25 in the UK. The album's lead single Out of the Blue, which was co-written and produced by Guy Chambers, was released prior to the album on October 8, 2004. Out of the Blue debuted at number 1 on the ARIA Singles Chart and number 9 in the UK. This was Goodrem's sixth straight number 1 single in Australia. It was certified platinum in Australia. The Sequoia single Mistaken Identity was released only in Australia, debuted at number 7 and was certified gold. Almost Here, a duet with Irish singer Brian McFadden, was released as the third single and reached number 3 in the UK and became her seventh ARIA number 1, along with her first number 1 in Ireland. It was certified platinum in Australia. A Little Too Late was released only in Australia and peaked at number 13. Be Strong was released as the album's fifth and final single in Australia as a digital download on October 16, 2005. At the time of release, digital downloads were not included as part of the main singles chart, therefore it was ineligible to chart. Much of the album, in particular Extraordinary Day, was inspired by her battle with cancer. Reflecting on that period of her life, Goodrem said, "It's weird to see pictures of that time. In some ways the fact that I was so sick was so out there, and yet I kept it really private. No one saw me on the days I was really sick. I was 18 when I was diagnosed and I had a number 1 album and single in the country. And in the UK, I was number 2. It was such a bipolar year." In March 2005, Goodrem starred in her first film role in Hating Alison Ashley, a film based on the children's novel by Robin Klein, with Goodrem acting the title character. The film performed poorly at the box office and was not a critical success, with some critics citing Goodrem's performance as too robotic and detached. April 2005 saw Goodrem relocate to New York to launch her career in the United States with a reworked version of Lost Without You. She appeared in the last 2 episodes of the short-lived American series North Shore in a bid to gain greater exposure. Lost Without You proved to be modestly successful, peaking at number 18 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary chart, but Goodrem was reportedly dissatisfied with its performance. Plans to release a hybrid of her first 2 albums were later terminated and Goodrem put America on hold. In July, Goodrem embarked on her first headline concert tour of Australia, the Visualize Tour. Ticket prices, $90 each, came under criticism for being higher than most international acts touring Australia at the time, and this initially led to slow sales. By the time the concerts were due to take place, many venues sold out after tickets were reduced to $60. Once the tour concluded, over 80,000 tickets had been bought in total, making the Visualize Tour one of Australia's highest-selling local tours. The Visualize Tour, Live in Concert, was released in November and became Goodrem's second number 1 DVD. On March 15, 2006, Goodrem performed a new song, Together We Are One, at the Commonwealth Games opening ceremony in front of 80,000 spectators and up to 1.5 billion television viewers worldwide. The song, written specifically for the event, was released in Australia, where it peaked at number 2 on the ARIA Singles Chart. It was performed by the top 5 contestants on Season 5 of American Idol. In June 2006, Goodrem signed to Modest Entertainment for her worldwide management. In October 2006, Goodrem promoted in Japan with the release of an updated version of Innocent Eyes and the Japan-only single Flawed, which reached number 1 on the Japanese download chart. The album peaked at number 8 on the Japanese International Chart and number 19 on the official Japanese album chart. In November, Goodrem appeared with Westlife on UK talent series The X Factor to perform a duet titled All Out of Love, which appeared on the boy band's 9th LP, The Love Album. She was in Melbourne on Christmas Eve to headline the annual Carols by Candlelight. 2007 A Euro 10, Delta, and Believe Again tour. Goodrem's third studio album, the eponymous Delta, was released in Australia on October 20, 2007. Goodrem described the material as a lot lighter compared to her previous album Mistaken Identity. She has also stated, as people become more aware of your life, they can pinpoint what songs are about. On this album, I've tried to remove a lot of that and just write great pop songs, songs that are from my heart but there's no baggage with them. The album debuted at number 1 on the ARIA Albums chart, making it her third #1 album in her home country, and received platinum certification for shipments of 70,000 records, though sales were much lower. Only 23,000 copies were sold during the first week. In December the album was certified 2x platinum. It eventually was certified 3x platinum in 2008. In New Zealand, the album debuted at number 12 on the RIANZ Albums chart. On August 10, 2007, Goodrem was in Los Angeles to film the music video for the album's lead single In This Life, which is also the opening theme for the anime Delta Quest, based on the novels by fellow Australian Emily Rodda. The video premiered on August 31 on Sunrise. In This Life was officially released on September 15. It debuted at number 1 on the Australian Singles Chart, becoming Goodrem's 8th #1 single in Australia. It was certified platinum. The second single, Believe Again, was released on December 10. It debuted and peaked at number 2 on the ARIA Singles Chart and was certified gold. The third single, You Will Only Break My Heart, was released on March 29, 2008 and peaked at number 14. The fourth single to be lifted from the album was I Can't Break It to My Heart, which debuted and peaked at number 13. Following the release of the lead single, Goodrem currently holds the record for most #1 singles on the ARIA charts by any artist, with a total of 8. In 2008 Goodrem focused on promoting music in Japan and the United States. She released In This Life on January 23 in Japan. She followed that up by releasing Delta on February 20. The album peaked at number 8 on the Japanese International Chart and number 39 on the overall chart. The album sold almost 5,000 copies in its first week, 1,000 copies more than her previous album in Japan, and overall sold over 30,000 copies in Japan. In the United States, Goodrem released In This Life on April 15, 2008. In This Life was released to US radio on April 9. It was first released to the AAA radio format, and then to the adult contemporary and hot adult contemporary formats. On June 17, 2008, Goodrem appeared for the second time on any Billboard chart with a single, debuting at number 40 on the Hot Adult Top 40 Tracks chart. The song later peaked at number 21. According to Nielsen SoundScan, the track sold 7,000 digital downloads in the week ending on June 24, 2008. The song also charted at number 20 on the Hot Adult Top 40 Recurrents. The album was then released on July 15, 2008 in the United States and Canada under the label Mercury Records. It peaked at number 18 on the US iTunes Store. It later debuted at number 116 on the US Billboard album chart and number 1 on Billboard's Top Heat Seekers with sales of 6,000 copies. Overall the album sold over 21,000 copies in the United States. In July 2008, it was announced that Goodrem would embark on a national tour of Australia, titled the Believe Again Tour. She originally announced 9 dates in 7 cities, but later announced more shows, performing 14 in 8 cities. The tour ran from January 9 to February 4, 2009. A concert DVD of the tour was released on September 18, 2009. It was called Believe Again, Australian Tour 2009. It peaked at number 1 on the Australian ARIA DVD chart and was certified gold for sales over 7,500 copies. She also recorded a duet, Right Here With You, with Olivia Newton-John to help raise money for Newton-John's Cancer Hospital in Melbourne. Goodrem was nominated for 2 awards at the 2008 ARIA Awards, a Euro Highest Selling Single and Highest Selling Album a Euro, and won the award for Highest Selling Album of 2008. At the 2008 World Music Awards, held on November 9 in Monaco, Goodrem received her 3rd World Music Award for World's Best-Selling Australian Artist. In March 2010, Goodrem and Guy Sebastian were chosen by the Jackson estate to perform at the Australian launch of Michael Jackson's This Is It DVD. The invitation-only event was attended by the film's director Kenny Ortega, Jackson's choreographer Travis Payne, and Jackson's brother Jackie Jackson. Goodrem and Sebastian performed Earth Song 2011 a Euro 13, Child of the Universe, and The Voice Australia. On November 24, 2011, Goodrem was confirmed to be a part of the judging panel of the Australian version of The Voice, which aired in early 2012, coaching alongside Keith Urban, Joel Madden, and Seal. Some of Goodrem's decisions on the show sparked criticism, with comments she was all style and little substance. Rachel Leachka was Goodrem's contestant in the final four. This was after Goodrem chose Leachka over Glenn Cunningham, who was Goodrem's backup singer on her Believe Again tour in 2009. Leachka finished third. Goodrem returned for season 2 in 2013, again with Madden and Seal, with Ricky Martin replacing Urban. Goodrem's finalist for season 2 was Celia Pavey, who also finished third. An announcement was made on March 19, 2012, stating that there is now a countdown on her official website to March 30, with the promise of something new, something fresh, something altogether exciting. On that day, it was then announced that Goodrem would be releasing her new single, Sitting on Top of the World. Sitting on Top of the World debuted and peaked at number 2 on the ARIA singles chart and was certified double platinum. It also peaked number 23 in New Zealand and was certified gold. The album's second single, Dancing with a Broken Heart, was released on August 10, 2012. It debuted and peaked at number 15 on the ARIA singles chart, and is Goodrem's second lowest charting single to date. The third single, Wish You Were Here, was released on October 12, 2012. Wish You Were Here debuted at number 7 on the ARIA charts and later peaked at number 5, and was certified platinum. Goodrem's fourth studio album, Child of the Universe, was released on October 26, 2012, which debuted at number 2 on the ARIA charts and spent 10 weeks in the top 50. It was certified gold in its second with for sales of 35,000 copies. Along with the release of the album, Goodrem embarked on her An Evening with Delta, the Top of My World shows, which supported the album release with a series of stripped-back shows, starting in Brisbane on October 27, then 2 Sydney shows on October 31, 2012 and November 2, 2012, and finishing with Melbourne on 7 and 8 November 2012. Rachel Leachka was the tour's opening act. Goodrem was featured on the album Spirit of Christmas 2012, singing Blue Christmas. In November, she also recorded a Christmas EP titled Christmas. It was released on December 14, 2012 in Australia and New Zealand. On February 1, 2013, it was confirmed that Goodrem had signed with US manager Irving Azoff. Goodrem performed at the Mardi Gras in Sydney in March 2013. This was a late-night performance, in Mardi Gras land, which was well received by critics. She performed dance version of some of her hit songs including Born to Try, Lost Without You, Predictable, Believe Again, Child of the Universe, and Sitting on Top of the World. In May 2013, Jeffrey Guryamal-Yunupinga joined Goodrem for a special performance of Baini on The Voice Australia, in celebration of National Reconciliation Week. The song was later released on iTunes and debuted at number 4 on the ARIA singles chart on June 10, 2013. On June 17, 2013, Goodrem released her new single Heart Hypnotic, which she also premiered on the live finale of The Voice. It is currently unclear whether Heart Hypnotic will appear on Goodrem's upcoming 5th studio album or will be a standalone single. Goodrem celebrated 10 years since releasing her multi-platinum album Innocent Eyes, which topped the Australian ARIA charts and reached number 2 on the UK albums chart by releasing Innocent Eyes, 10-year anniversary acoustic edition on November 29, 2013, which debuted and peaked at number 22 on the ARIA albums chart. 2014, The Voice Kids Australia, and 5th studio album. Goodrem has currently been working on her 5th studio album, which she hopes to have out sometime in 2014. Goodrem has stated that she is feeling a lot more free in herself and in her music and is going to try to write songs to help her crack the US market. On November 26, 2013, it was announced that Goodrem would not be returning to The Voice Australia for a 3rd season but instead chose to be a part of the new Australian version of The Voice Kids. Goodrem revealed on her Twitter account that the decision was made because this would give her more time on her music career and more time to work on her new album. Goodrem will coach alongside Joel Madden, who will team up with his brother Benji Madden, and Melby Darren McMullen will host The Voice Kids while also remaining on the original version. The show's blind auditions will be filmed in early February. Goodrem attended the 2014 AACTA Awards, where she performed Kissing You in tribute to Baz Luhrmann's Romeo plus Juliet. Personal life. In 2004, Goodrem began a 9-month relationship with Australian tennis player Mark Philippoussis. Her comeback single Out of the Blue was written about his support during her cancer battle. The couple's relationship ended in controversy when newspapers reported Philippoussis had been unfaithful. Later that year, Goodrem began dating former Westlife singer Brian McFadden, with whom she collaborated on the duet Almost Here. On November 29, 2007, Goodrem and McFadden announced they were engaged. In his book, McFadden wrote that he proposed to her on a trip to Bali. The pair ended their relationship in May 2010. In March 2011, she started dating Nick Jonas. They broke up in February 2012. Goodrem has said that it was a genuine love. Legacy and artistry. Her repertoire falls under the pop and adult contemporary styles, and heavily features the piano, which she usually plays barefoot while performing live. Goodrem is also known for her technically skilled soprano voice, which in a review of Delta was described as crystalline, fierce and illuminating in quality. Goodrem was honoured with a wax figure at Madame Tussauds in Sydney's Darling Harbour, which opened in April 2012. The singer donated a dress that she previously wore on stage to the attraction. As of the late 2000s or early 2010s, Goodrem has achieved 8 #1 Australian Recording Industry Association singles and multiple UK top 10 singles. Her debut album, 2003's Innocent Eyes, made her one of Australia's highest-selling female recording artists, spending 29 weeks at #1, selling over 1.2 million copies in Australia and another 4.5 million internationally, debuting at #2 in the UK and breaking various records in the process. In 2004, Goodrem released Mistaken Identity, her second studio album, which entered the ARIA charts at #1, spawning 2 #1 singles and quickly gained multi-platinum status. In 2005, Goodrem embarked on the Visualise Tour, her debut concert tour of Australia, combining songs from both Innocent Eyes and Mistaken Identity. Goodrem released her third studio album, self-titled Delta, on October 20, 2007, to yet another #1 debut, gaining multi-platinum status within the first few months of release. Goodrem also shifted attention to different markets, releasing the album in the Far East and the USA. In January 2009, Goodrem embarked on the Believe Again tour of Australia to support her third studio album. She has sold approximately 6.7 million albums, and 8 million combined albums and singles worldwide. Philanthropy. In May 2005, Goodrem helped launch Teen Info on Cancer, a UK website aimed at supporting young teenage sufferers. In November 2005, Goodrem became an ambassador for Research Australia's Thank You Day, which honours the country's health and medical researchers, and received a Thank You Day Celebrity Advocacy Award in recognition of her efforts in raising funds and awareness for Australian medical research and charities. Goodrem is said to be the face of alternative hair, the UK hairdressing industry's top fundraising event, in aid of cancer charity Leukemia Research. Goodrem is also a member of RADD, a group of celebrities raising awareness of the risks of drunk driving. In 2011, Goodrem became an ambassador for the Kinghorn Cancer Centre at Sydney's Garvan Institute of Medical Research. Discography. 2003, Innocent Eyes, 2004, Mistaken Identity, 2007, Delta, 2012, Child of the Universe, Tours, 2005, The Visualise Tour, 2009, Believe Again Tour, 2012, An Evening with Delta, The Top of My World Shows, Filmography, Film, Television, Awards. References. External links, Official website, Official fan site, Delta Goodrem at the Internet Movie Database, Delta Goodrem on Twitter, Delta Goodrem on Facebook, Delta Goodrem's channel on YouTube, Delta Goodrem on MySpace.